Hi everyone, this is Eva from Heart to Heart and Gatherings of Light, and today I'm going to talk about something different. I'm going to have a different uh, set on how I presenting things. So with that said, uh, I will open up a slide here. We call it a snapshot in universe. And during this snapshot in universe, I've been inviting both Alexandra Topashinsky and Cody Bryce in different shows here and to have a snapshot in the universe about different topics. And the last one I had with Cody Bryce, and we will be back here in a couple of weeks talking about the crossroad where we are right now. But before we are going there, I would like to have my own crossroad chat, a snapshot in universe. So I have put up a few slides here, and I'm going to talk from my heart around these slides. So I'm located here in Sweden, and I also have my dogs here. So if someone is starting to snore, it's probably the pug who is falling asleep, and the other dog is also here. So background noises will be included, and you have to take that because that is part of life too. So what are we going to talk about? Well, this is the topics that we are going to talk about today. Crossroads, struggle for life, logos, good versus evil, battle over human souls, angelic beings and terrestrial being, Antarosian Legion, human interpretation, power of minds, balanced duality, communications, and praise. So who am I? Well, I'm Eva, also called Eva-Lena Andersson. That's my name, but I'm called Eva. Live here in Sweden. Uh, I always wanted to be a healer since I was a young girl, so that is something that I always felt very drawn to, and I am a healer. I would call myself a healer today, and that is something that has stuck with me in my whole life. And of course, as a healer, I have tried different techniques, and not always working as the techniques that I'm learning, or have, of course, the same. But I do respect the origin of every single branch that I have learned. I also am a intuitive artist. I'm doing my fluid art paintings, and I also sculpture with clay. Communicator, well, for the past years, I think it's 5 or 6 years now, I've been inviting people both here in Sweden and in around the world to come on the show and talk about the spiritual journey and the things that makes them move forward. And it's not that I am not doing that anymore. It's just that I want to have a new line up in my own life. I'm want to change direction in how I communicate today. So this is one of the first slides that I actually doing. It's been on my mind for a very, very long time to have something to talk about, to keep myself, in direct line with the topics. So my main pages here on the English sites are Gathering of Lights and Heart to Heart, and you find them on Facebook. I also have this Habe Engen, which is mostly from my Swedish fans, if I can say that. It's more a page where I put up my artwork, and it's also in Swedish, but it's not that large as Gatherings of Lights and Heart to Heart. So let's move forward. So we are going to talk about Crossroad with Cody Bryce when we get together. And the first across my mind is the circle of life. Everything is going in circles. Everything you do within your life is repeating itself. It could be a smaller circle that is bound to a week or month. It can also be like in a larger perspective for a year or years too. A circle of life is that some events will always occur within their own timelines. So the crossroad that we are in right now is the ascension time. So we are moving forward into this ascension time. So it's hard to say it's going to take place with a couple of minutes or a couple of days, but we are in the energy of a crossroad that we are going to meet up with this ascension time. But I want to address that you have this circle of life within your own life. So, example, when it comes to change your career, there will be certain times in your life that is so much easier for the energy to provide you with new energy to move forward and change direction. It's also a comfort to stay within this window that you have been within. So some people are not moving forward, they want to keep on to what's past, but everything is changing. Even though time is right now, progression is always changing. So if you want to move forward, you can obviously move forward, even though it's not a completed circle, but you have this energy within the circle who gives the opportunity to move forward so much easier. So if you're starting to look upon your life and see the life events that has taken place within your life, you will probably notice that there has been a couple of years between the same process. It could be like you have moved from one house to another house or home to another home, change your career. So you can narrow down the time. So you have this maybe 4 or 5 years of circle between these life events. It's kind of fun actually to look upon it. That gives you a closer perspective on how circles are actually taking place, because we do know the family one, that we are born into life and live our life and then we die. That is a completion of circle of life. Well, every energy has this circle of life. You have some certain life events that you are supposed to do, and when you are doing it, you are completing a circle, moving into another circle. So what we are right now is not just the human circle of life as you know it and taking place in your own life. We are in the circle of life in a crossroad where we are moving in the end game of the ascension project. So what they are saying is that every 25,000 year we are moving into this ascension process. So that could be 24,500 years, it could be 26,000 years, but around 25,000 years. What do I know? I can't count the years, but they are saying that 25,000 year, the is an ending of the old, and we are moving into a new era of energy. So that is what is taking place right now. And I think it's kind of fun. The most of people who are here and listening to this are familiar with the concept of ascension, and that we are moving into another dimensional or getting upgrading our frequencies. We are meeting up with our universal friends, and circle of life at 25,000 years is not only bound to us, it's a cosmic event. So what's taking place here is also taking place in other part of the universe. So that means that other lives, so how do you say that? Other beings in other galaxies or throughout the whole universe is also in this process of a circle. So what you can experience as a circle taking place within your life. For example, 1 year could be 25,000 years for someone else. Do remember that years and time, mostly time, is something that we use to measure um, on how energy is flowing and measuring our lives within. But when you come to cosmic events, time is probably relative. It's all now and then and present. So it's both past, future, and the present time at once. So therefore, when people are talking about meeting intergalactic friends and they are saying we are you from a distant future, that means that they are in a manipulated time. So they are back in our reality. So when I'm saying this manipulating time, it means that even though everything is now, we are not in the process right now as human beings of manipulating time, uh, because it's out of our knowledge on how. And yet there are very many people here on earth that is actually manipulating time and doesn't have a clue about that they are doing that. So I'm not going to say that we are going to end that discussion, but we are in the process of 25,000 years and we are moving into the ascension process. So what's the ascension? Well, that is the upgrade. That is the split from leaving one era of learning and moving forward and moving into another space, another time, another dimension, where you either are reuniting with your origin or moving to another place and continue your life lessons that you are supposed to live. But there is definitely a change in the humanity. You can call it a conscious awareness, and that is something that we are also talking about a lot, that we have this more of a cosmic consciousness. We have this alternate consciousness. We are have another responsibility for how we're thinking. So that is a process within this ascension process too. It's not that we are waking up tomorrow and everything is new and we grasp it and handle it very, very well and perfect. That is not going to happen, because if you are closing your eyes now, waking up tomorrow, still with the same consciousness that you have today, you will probably not integrate what's going on in your life and how to handle it, and probably will mess up the way you are thinking. So it is a gradually moving forward experience, even this with consciousness. But we are definitely changing our own consciousness. And this is what the ascension process is moving forward with on a global scale. And that is also what we are calling a awakening, the grand awakening, that more people are waking up, starting to question the reality that they are living in, questioning the old systems, starting to look outside the box, see reality for what it is, and question if the reality that they see is the reality that they are living in. So this is a huge sensational time we are actually being in. And it's not easy to see that a lot of things are a huge illusion, because everything that you thought you knew is not the way you think it were. So you are going to process that, and you are going to try to wrap your mind around how it works. And you will get inputs from a lot of people, and you will definitely make your own stand in where you want to go with that awakening. And it's a lot to handle right now, but we are there and we are here for each other, and we are going to move forward within this awakening process. So in this awakening process, you have probably heard about the ascended masters. And ascended masters is usually someone who has been a spiritual leader here on earth and moved up into other dimension. So a few of them. There are so many ascended masters. We have El Moriah, who's working on the first ray, and Lord Lanto, who is usually connected to the second ray, Paul the Venetian, third ray, Seraphis Bay, fourth ray, Hilarion, fifth ray, Lady Nada, sixth ray, Saint Germain, seventh ray, Mahakorn, represents of the Holy Spirit, and there are so many more. So these are the ascended masters who are usually connected to the ray. That means that they are working together and they are within the other rays too. The archangels are moving through the different rays, even though they also are connected to one ray more specific than the other one. So that this is a part of the human concept that we feel the urge to control and put it into a box system. Like El Moria is always supposed to be in the first ray. He cannot work on the something else. He belongs to the first ray. Well, that is not the truth. That is the illusion of perception. El Moria, yes, he is the Kohan. He is connected to the first ray, but is also a energy at this time working within the other. So keep that in mind, that even though we learn that this, I have learned this too, are connected, you will find a connection with it. For example, Hilarion on the fifth ray connected to another ray. So where do they go, these ascended masters? Well, they call it the electric retreats. So I googled in on Summit Lighthouse there, and that is a perfect page for those who wants to get information about ascended masters and some of the archangels. And I can't say so much more because I'm not a part of their community, but I do enjoy reading upon the information that they have, because they have a lot of information that resonates with my own belief. And do remember, my belief may not be your belief, and that is totally fine. So the etheric retreats says that each of the Kohans of the seven rays has their etheric retreat from which ascended and unascended masters, angels as well as souls working in sleep, as it were, strive to bring the blessings of light and the consciousness of the Christ to mankind. Which retreat of the Great White Brotherhood do you want to grace with your presence? And that is a question to you. Maybe it is that you feel that you are very drawn to one of the ascended masters you find here, and when you are checking it with other information, you may find that the answers of what color, because every ray has a color, and the color is the vibration. So the vibration by itself brings out a sound and a color, and therefore we, the human mind, has graduated it into this first ray, second ray, etc., etc. So that is a spectra. But when you read them when you are sleeping, and when you try to go through what you have been dreaming of, you might find that, for example, Almoria is turning up on a ray that is not white. So let's say it's pink. So you say, no, well, then it can't be El Moria. Well, it is probably, because they are still working within vibrations, that everything is etheric. And what meaning of the etheric retreats is that the etheric retreats are a energetic retreat in another dimension. So you probably heard of Shangri-La, you probably heard of a lot of these etheric places. If you go to Manchester, you can go into other dimensions. You are entering both Lemuria. You are meeting up with the Great White Brotherhood. You can meet up with a lot of entities on the etheric retreats and etheric places, like the fairies within the forest have their own vibration, even though they can move through both their vibration and our vibration. And some people can move from this vibration into the other vibration. It's all about vibrations. So the next phase is descended masters. Do remember that everything as we look upon things is that it has a opposite. We like to have this duality. If there's night, there is a day. If there's ascended master, there's the descended masters. And what's interesting with the descended masters is that throughout the ages there has been wisdom keepers, gurus, spiritual leaders, way showers, and now we have moved into the grand awakening. So the wisdom keepers could be like the people who worked with nature and hold the wisdom of universal laws, the stars, healing through using plants, etc. It could be spiritual leaders, could be gurus from all over the world, someone who hold more information about the spirit, someone who already was in touch with the vibrational feeling of connection and spiritual vibration to communicate with other dimensions. So way showers today, I would like to call way showers more of a thing of today. That is something that is paving the way for the rest. We have so many way showers throughout our 19th centuries or 20th centuries, you call it. We call it 1900-talet. You call it the 20th centuries, where people has been going public or being in their communities, talking about spirituality, both on social media, in their communities, and holding that energy, the pillar of light, if you want to call it that, just staying firm to hold these vibrations, and still are and will be for a long time. And they are there holding that vibration for the energy to be able to move around the global and be a part of that grand awakening that is taking place right now. Because the way showers are presenting both, no, I'm not going to say both. The way showers are providing information, and that information is processed within ourselves throughout the experiences that we have as human beings, which means that one way shower could give information, and 10 people, depending on the culture history, the land they came from, the language that they are speaking, their own knowledge, will receive that information in 10 different ways. So when they are talking, they are not getting the same picture from one way shower. And the way shower has their own intention of the information that they are giving out there. It's not important that these 10 people are seeing it in the same way, because you are processing the information the way you are supposed to process it within yourself, from the capacity that you can, from the awareness that you have. And that is the grand awakening. You either see through the information you receive and say, that is not for me, and you will move on and question something else. And that's totally fine, because that is something that you probably need to do. So that could be that you are perceiving way showers information, both right and both wrong, and that is not really something that I'm going to get into. You either feel it resonates with you or you don't. But whatever it does to you, it makes you question it, embracing it or questioning it. And that's the duality once more. Same thing from one of the same sources. You have one information, you have two outcomes from it. Embrace it or reject it. Whatever it is, it will lead up to something new. So that is a great part of the ascension process, to break through the illusion, and that is the grand awakening. So let's see where we are going from here. Who are the descended masters? Well, who do you think they are? A lot of people who are here, spiritual leaders and way showers, have lived their lives throughout eons. You are a part of a greater system. So, descended masters, think about it. Who are they? Struggle for love. Well, struggle for love, common beliefs, power of love, unconditional love, self-love, love for others, in service to others, in service to oneself, and omnipresent love. Struggle for love. Well, love is the concept of universe. So that is at least what we think it is. That is our common beliefs, that we are to be more lovable to ourselves. We do know that the power of love is tremendous. And we do know, for example, when people are meditating in huge groups and they are projecting their meditations for peace, that there will be a increase of serenity, and the criminal activity actually is measurable to be lower. It's not ceasing to exist, but it definitely have an impact. So there are actually people sitting and do nothing else but meditate on peace, uh, maybe not all over the place, over the globe, but well around the world. And they are doing a tremendous job. And since everything is a duality, there is always an opposite that does the same things on the other side. But what we do want to strive is, and what we are taught to be striving for, is this unconditional love to hold in our heart, that we are universal beings, that we are sprung from one source, and the source is pure love. So self-love has been for a very long time something that we had to put outside ourselves. That was not good. You did not want to love yourself because you were mostly like to be told that you were egocentric, egoistic, and some other things. And probably there are some truth in that too. Everything has an healthy measure. But you were told that you have to only have love for others, and that should be unconditional. And you should also be service to other, and that meant that you are, in some parts, giving up everything that has to do with the material world, and just be in service, and are living off the goodness of other people. And is that a right or wrong? Absolutely not. There is not a judgment in here. Everything has its purpose, but it's love. It's the same force that are expressing itself throughout different channelers. So the unconditional love is sprung from the one source, the creator. And that unconditional love is something you can also find within yourself. It comes with a non-judgmental illusion of something. It's just pure love. And you also need to learn to love yourself. It's so much easier to put love outside yourself, and because we are taught so many times that you can't love yourself. But you are here and you have a physical body, and the pure love from the source is running through your veins. So of course the creator loves you, so why shouldn't you love yourself? Think about it. It doesn't mean that you are not exclude, it can include love for others. You should definitely have love for others. We're living in a coexistence with each other. So love is a very powerful tool, both to be in service to other, but also be in service to oneself. Is it egotistical? Well, you do today work for someone else, probably to earn your money so you can provide for the life you are living. That is service to other. You are serving people, you're getting paid to be in service to other people, but it's also service to yourself. Because if you don't work, you will probably not receive any money to live your life. So therefore, it's both sides of a coin. You say one coin, two sides. Service to other and service to oneself. It's a balance between that. When something is taking over, it's usually a gap within something else. So the omnipresent love, well, the omnipresent love is something that includes everything. It's something that is universal. It doesn't exclude something, it doesn't include something special. It's something that is present here and now throughout every channel that totally exists. So, logos, you probably heard of logos, and here too are so many different belief system of what logos is. Well, to me, Logos is Christ consciousness, has been for a very long time and still are. And Christ consciousness is not bound to religion, it's a metaphor for a source. We don't forget what I said earlier. The human mind has a ability to have labels on everything that we do to makes it easier to process and to handle information. But Logos is our universe, our galaxy, and that is a living entity. And that entity has its own consciousness from where the power of love is sprung. And that is the Christ consciousness. That is a wholeness. The Christ consciousness is something that is moving throughout the universe, experiencing itself and expressing itself through us. So when we are talking about Christ as a physical person, it's a embodiment of the consciousness, Christ consciousness, that were embodiment throughout a religious figure. And that consciousness has expressed himself or herself within several of the religions or philosophies that are existence, because it's not a person, it's a consciousness. But when it's here on earth, it expresses itself through people, and it can also be, as it did in Jesus Christ, embodiment. The Christ consciousness was a part of a physical body expressing itself throughout the carrier there, the vessel. So Christ consciousness is something to me that is global. It expresses itself through love, and that's why love is so important within our lives, and why we want to strive to hold this power of love, both unconditional but in our heart. Because with love, we are connecting with each other, and it also gives a connection on that vibration that is a direct path to your higher self, through your higher self, to reach the Christ consciousness. So, good versus evil. Well, is there good or is there evil? That is still the same coin and two realities. We have been told in many religions that we have the armor of God, which means that the prophetical people who are on a uh, crusade for God, who are fulfilling the battle for God, has the protection of God. So if you are doing wars and have to fight battles, there is probably something caused for you to be in that process. Do we want to call it evil? We might as well call it evil because, as we said earlier, we have a huge um, thing of label things. So if we are looking upon the old religious scripts that are around, we will find that battle has been thought for a long time between good and evil. There has been war in cosmos. You will find it in the Vedic scripts. You will find it in the Bible. We have angels fighting to get rid of the evil, and we have gods battling between themselves, and some are trying to protect the human beings here on earth and other ones to wipe them out. So you can find the same process throughout a lot of these religious old scripts, and that is two opposites in another dimension. So of course there is a not necessary in another dimension. It doesn't mean it have to be bad, but we are perceiving it to be bad. Are you a human, as a human being, bad when you are walking in nature and accidentally step on a ant and that ant is dying? For the ant community, you are probably a very evil thing that are moving around, crossing its companions, companion ants into the death, while you experience from your perception just enjoying nature and has no idea of this poor ant that just got crushed underneath you. So that is not a such a nice comparing, but I just wanted to throw it in there. I want you to feel like, is this actually, it's not that easy to handle the concept of good and evil, but it definitely have a definition between what's good and what's evil, and that is most likely what this society is having for perception on what is good and moral and ethic throughout the ages are also a huge impact on what is concerned to be good and what is concerned to be evil. But is there a battle going on the other side? Is there two different parts of what's good and what's bad? Do we experiencing good versus bad here on earth? Most definitely we do. There are so many things taking place that has no benefit for the human race, and we are not treating each other good either. We are striving to try to teach love and compassion, to be more loving towards each other, and still you have these global events taking place where there is no compassion between the interaction of different countries or minds. And that is a sad thing. But that is also what's going on here, because in a battle it's not only and always the physical part. It's also a game, if I may call it, on a manipulation. So to have people fighting each other, to feel ill, to be in a process of not being so happy, is a good place to keep control over human minds. So let's move into battle over human minds. Because when we are reacting to something, we are usually involving our emotions, right? So our emotions are so powerful. It can burst into laughter, it can burst into fear, it can burst into sadness, and that is an expression of our reaction. But something is taking place within us, and those reaction is something that sets a reaction in our mind to produce a lot of things in our body to make us feel this way. So battle over human minds, I'm actually borrowing in that concept because I heard a lot of people talking about the battle over human minds, and that is definitely a good headline, battle over human minds, because when you're looking throughout the human history, you have always had times in our modern history when there has been a small group of people, usually connected to religion, spiritual leaders, um, or kings who are relying upon their uh, I was about to say way showers, but that is part of way showers. They were telling the kings, the council that are advising the king to act upon a certain way. So if you control people to be afraid of religion, afraid of God, if you are doing this, then you will be punished. If you are not doing this, you will also be punished. That is the oldest way to control people. And you still see it in the modern time. It's not only what's going on a global scale, but you can see it in a community. You have um, people who are bullying each other. You have bosses who are taking out their frustration on their co-workers and in a bad way. And that makes the coworker feel afraid of his boss. And when you are afraid, you're producing other stuff within your body that doesn't make you feel great, but it's all also a nourishing for entities who are actually feeding on those emotions. So if there are entities feeding on these emotions, there are also entities who are feeling good. You can say feeding on this emotion, that is also something that will add to the concept of the being in a darker dimension, an evil space or group. They're feeding on the energy. But if you go the other way, if you're vibrating higher, you're feeling good about yourself, you will probably connect with energies who are on that vibrational. So it's more like it's attraction, law of attraction. You attract the way you are. If you are sending out certain information, you will attract information on the same vibration, or vibrations around that vibrations. So if you are feeling low, if you are feeling fear, there will be entities who are in that area who will probably enjoy being with that fear and will you, let me put it in a physical way. You do know when you are in a bad mood and you meet up with someone and they ask, "How are you?" and you start to talk about that. Then there's two kind of reaction. One is listening in, may have one or two things to say about it, but when the chat is over, it's over. There is no hard feelings left. There is nothing that is still burning there. It's done. The conversation is done. And then you have this other person who is almost, you can see it in their eyes, and they're smiling, they're feeling good about the way you are feeling. And suddenly you are in a conversation about everything that could go wrong. And that is someone who's actually getting high on the lower vibration. And that lower vibration is both within us and in other entities. And of course, there's an opposite, that you are connecting with people who doesn't go down that rabbit hole. It listens to you, but their energy is not diving into that hole with you. It's more like a container, and when you have left the feelings and the things you need to say, it is processed and over. No need to continue to debate it. And when you do debate it, it's not even connected to an emotion. So therefore, you don't get any reaction from it. I hope you do understand what I'm saying. So these entities on the other side that we are talking about, battle over humans' minds, are interfering with us human. So of course they are absorbing the energy that we are providing them with. So when you get a reaction from an emotion and you feel fear, please try to use this neutral space. Is it actually a fear from you, or is it uh, fired up at something else? Because we do want to be careful where we are putting our energies and what we are letting into our lives and what we are giving out, because everything is a manifest today. Your thoughts are living energy. So if you put enough thoughts on a subject or into the future on how you want things to be, you are paving the way for it to manifest itself. Universe will provide. Universe has no thinking of whether it's good or bad. Universe is neutral. And if you want to dive into a fear-based emotion, and that is all you can think about, it probably most likely will open up a path for you to walk upon, which means that it goes both way. So if you want to manifest thing, you need to have this intention of where you want to go. There's a saying that the energy goes where the intention flows, or something like that. Um, and that is that the more energy you're putting into something, the more likely it will come true. So why is it so much harder to manifest good things? Well, because the good things is a reaction and emotion that makes us feel good, and it's a comfortable thing. We are feeling secure within that feeling. The bad stuff taking place around us is totally fear-based, and fear is providing a very powerful um, I don't know what you call it in English, but it's a reaction within yourself that goes back to our original design on how to respond to outer threats. So I think you call it a reptile brain. It has nothing to do with the reptiles right now. And on the other side, it's more like this is the earlier people on fight flight. Um, you either need to flee for your existence or fight for your existence. So there wasn't so much time to just be powerful in that situation. But it is there. So therefore, it is so much easier to dive into, because it's such a strong reaction within ourselves. So the only thing we can do is that we use our free choice to actually be aware of what it is that I'm thinking and what it is that I'm providing the thoughts with. Is it that I'm stuck, and I do appreciate emotions, because my belief is that you have these emotions because you are going to work through them. So to always be in a state of mind could be good. It can also be not working for you on that way that you want it to work. And if it doesn't work your way and for the higher good, it's probably not the reaction you want to continue with. And that is the choice that you have. You have the power of your own thoughts. You have the power to say, no, well, this is not how I want to think or provide my energy to be, dwelling within. So that is your choice of matter. So when we are talking about the entities, they are probably angelic and terrestrial beings. That is what we are considering to be, entities from other realms. And usually when we are talking about good stuff, we are talking about the angelic realms. And when we are talking about, bad reptilians or the bad grays, they are terrestrial beings. But there are both angelic and terrestrial beings that it's just names. It's names. Okay? So these angelic or terrestrial beings, um, using both terms because we are, as human beings, more drawn to either the angelic sphere or the terrestrial sphere of word. So they are still creating reaction emotions, and they're still continue to bring fear-based information. And these are also entities on the other side, and they are too manifesting my vibrations and working through the law of attractions. And they, as us, is having their own path and their own ascension process. So if you are in a coexistence with the human mind and you are living on fear from the human race, why would you want the nourishing that you get from that to drop out of your habitat? You don't. You want to continue to have it there. So your choice is to start being aware of what's going on, to question things that are happening, to question the information, questioning whatever it is you are reading here, how you want to proceed with that information. Does it respond to you? Do you have a broader picture of what it is that I'm talking about? Or is it just nonsense to you? It's your choice. You do not have to take everything that I say. You don't have to take everything that I have written down in the same way it says. You are the master of your own mind, and you need to make up your own beliefs based upon the information that you're getting. So I'm not telling you that you should think this way or that you should not think this way. You have that choice to make by yourself. The interesting part is that there are so many things taking place today. So if you start just play with the thoughts that it actually is good versus evil, that it is fear-based living and thinking, and there is another way of thinking, and see how that applies on the earth that you are living upon right now, you probably will see that you have a truth of that too. So a lot of us may see that there has been this struggle over human minds and human souls, and see that there are actually things or entities that are not working for the human minds or the source higher good, and doesn't want us to move forward, wants us to keep holding us in the state of mind where we are still living in this lower vibration, and be there and not working through our way to within the ascension time, and they do not want to move forward either. So for them, there's a concept of, they having the herd of minds, and they don't want to lose that herd of minds. They want to keep it that way. So we can call it evil. So a lot of people have started to notice that there is quite unpleasant entities working around and closer to our dimension than we actually thought that they were. And these entities are manifesting themselves as well because they are vibrations. So every vibration can manifest itself. So if the good can manifest itself and be embodied in this dimension, then everybody can do that. So it's not bound to just the good part, it's also the evil part. But the evil, there is good and there is evil, or the definition of that. So the interesting, and this is my reaction, the interesting part is that the more people that I notice are actually starting to see that there is a huge truth to the dark entities and the good entities, then we have this religion who is known to have exorcism in their and in the way of handle the religion, to work with a higher good to vanish the darkness. And they are right now suddenly taking a step away from that. And I find it kind of interesting because for so long they have been telling everybody that the human minds can be possessed. And when people actually start to realize that that is the truth, then they are taking the hands of that subject. That is so interesting. Think about that. So, this with Entourage and Legion. Well, to me, it's kind of the same thing as we expressed before. It's our definition of what's good and bad. Entourage, if we take the dictionary, it says that it is a group of people attending or surrounding an important person. And the street meaning, if we should say that, is a group of people who are there to assistant bodyguards that are always surrounding you everywhere you go. That's your entourage. They're friends, assistants, bodyguards. So it's the same thing, different expressions of it. So you are the important person, and the channels, if you're using the channeling community, for example, you have Cryon Entourage. And some people are asking, who's the entourage? Because the entourage is suddenly sounded like there are, something that is a follow team, and we are usually seeing this as a king is moving forward and has its entourage behind, and it has nothing to say. They have a lower aspect of being a part of the society as the king. That isn't exactly what it's mean. It's probably more if you have this entity uh, within that entourage, it is the same vibrational, those who are vibrating on the same vibration. And do you remember we were talking about the different race and the ascended master who are connected to a vibration? And they are still working within the other vibrations because they are so close to each other. But when they are asked to, which vibration they are more, our definition of more work compatible with, you get example El Moria on the first ray. So you have Cryon on the entourage, and the entourage is both Archangel Michael, and there is a lot of other angels and a lot of channelers there too. So, or entities, so you can talk to. So entourage is meaning a follow-up. So your the group that you are working with. So legions means a large group, or in another parlance, it may mean many. So that could be also a definition that we are holding in our human minds. When we're talking about entourage, we're usually seeing it as a good thing, and legion is usually, when you say legion, you are connecting it with a more darker side. But that is also a definition of how we were taught to look upon these different words and the vibrations behind the words. And they are talking about dark legions, but they are also good legions. You were talking about Archangel Michael's legion, and that means all the angels who are connecting with Archangel Michael. There are so many, so they are in that large group becomes a legion. So usually entourage is associated with the good side, while legion is associated with the dark side, with the bad side, when people are talking. But that is the human definition of it. It doesn't mean that it has to be so. So you have to follow the energy behind it, because everything is a human interpretation. We are masters of twisting things so they will be compatible with our own level of understanding. So, what is human interpretation? Well, how we look upon the spoken or written word, culture and history are definitely defining our mind and ordinary lifestyle. And it's something that makes sense, that we can grasp. And, and the last time Cody and I was live there, we were talking about, or he mentioned that ascension is like an emerald tablets. Everyone is experience ascension from their own understanding and spiritual level. And I think it's a pretty good definition of it. Because when you think you are grasping the information, you will probably move up to another insight. And that's another circle, taking its new path, and you see the things that you have learned from a different level. So you're graduating upwards. I like to say it upwards just to put a picture in your mind of you moving forward in your thinking. Ascension is like an emerald tablets. Everyone is experiencing ascension from their own understanding and spiritual level. Power of minds. Yeah, even though we know this, even though we know it's interdimensional beings that are either providing us with equality or trying to control our minds, that power of minds also exist here on Earth among humans. We are so good at taking control and manipulate each other, and a good salesman do really know how to manipulate the buyer. So in many ways we are accepting this control, giving away our power to other people because they are good on what they are doing. They seem to know, they seem to have a lot of information, and when they present that information in a very powerful way, they are so tough to arguing against it. So, excuse me. That is one way of keeping the power of minds. And usually the owner of truth, and I call it salesman, is the one who wants to have their power over other people. And many times, and this is my belief, is that we are giving away our power to people who we feel attracted to, and that can be both physical, but it can also be attracted to the power of the knowledge that they have. So how often do you question a spiritual leader, a priest, a priestesses, and someone would define themselves as witches? So because there's a definition, we all define us as something. Do we question them? We usually don't. And those who are being questioned usually are questions on someone who wants to take control over what they are reading or saying because it doesn't resonate with them. And it could be trolls, and it could be anything. But everybody wants to hold the truth over someone else, or should I say, those who want to be the owner of the truth over someone else is, in my opinion, a bully. Because I don't have to be right every time that I speak. I don't have to be that. That is my learning process. I am providing things from a perspective where how I see upon things, and that doesn't need that you have to be resonating on that truth. You can say it on a different way. We can have a communication about it. But when people wants to own you, own the truth. Like, if you don't think like I do, then you are no good. If you're not doing what I think you should do, then you're no good. If I say it's like this, it's like this. Well, it's not. And me too have met so many people over the time, and many of them are what I call spiritual leaders, and they have this thing that some of them think that they can behave the way they want to towards other people because they have this knowledge, and people are turning to them just to get a part of their knowledge and be in their presence. And if you say, I'm not interested in taking part of your activities just to be gaining from your knowledge or experience, I want to have a communication. And if it doesn't resonate with us, then I'm not interested. If I'm then to be called um, banned for not participating or not ready for the spiritual journey because I won't embrace the hierarchy that are there, that is a huge warning signal to me. It's so sad because a lot of them actually do have a huge knowledge and could be fabulous people if they wanted to share the information or the way they see it with their broader audience. But if it doesn't resonate with you, it doesn't resonate with you. So when people want me to act in a specific way to be in favor within their own community, then that is a warning signal. If I'm taking a course for anyone, if I want to learn something, then I have full respect and I will do the learning that I have seeked up. So if I'm seeking up you to learn about something that you are putting out there, then I accept to learn the way you are teaching me. When I have learned that and we have said thank you, I own that truth within me and I do whatever I want to do with it. And I don't need to ask for permission. But when I'm taking that information, if I joined your community and taking a course, as I said before, then of course I will respect whatever you are teaching, because that is me seeking out you to learn more about how you think. If I want to stay on that path, it's up to me. It doesn't mean that I have to think that it was bad. Maybe, no, it doesn't. I can think that it was a very good course and I can see the truth in it. And I can see that there could be a lot of things that resonate with me, and I will keep whatever resonates with me, because that is what will work for me. So, and that goes on everywhere. If you're going to, let's say that you're going with your dog to learn them how to walk with you, and it doesn't resonate the way you've been taught, then it's probably not the way you and your dog are supposed to learn it. So you seek up another teacher and have a different result. It doesn't mean that it is bad, it's not just working for you in that time. So owning the truth, you are the owner of the truth you have. If it resonates with other, you are probably on the same vibration. If it doesn't resonate with each other, that is also very fine. There will always be someone resonating with you somewhere. throughout universe. So we are moving into balance and duality. So balance and duality. Mental balance can be defined as a sense of tranquility that arises from inner peace and harmonious relationships with the external world. A sense of mental balance is experienced when a person feels that the various aspects of their lives are in balance and they feel at peace with life. Which means that we are having all these expression of emotions within ourselves, but when it gets too far on the other side, it doesn't feel good. So we need to balance them probably within ourselves. And that is the same with truth. Too much knowledge about one thing will cause a gasp into something other. There will be a hole of information that you might want to fill up with, so you got the wholeness of that information. So our beliefs, desire, motives, and moral virtues can be fundamentally conceptualized in terms of yin understood as receptive and yang understood as directed active purpose. That is a written definition of balance and duality. Then I find this Dr. Bob Kahn, and he's a healthcare manager. And he wrote an essence of balance and duality and the law of duality, to be the truth. And basically states that everything is a continuum and has a complementary opposite within the whole. To use an old adage, there may be two sides of a coin, but there is only one coin. In other words, things that appear as opposites are in fact only two extremes of the same thing. So I'm going to read that essence to you because this is something that we are moving up to. Everything is relative. Everything is a paradox. Everything is an illusion. Everything is not what it seems to be. There is always an opposite in the fact. And this is like his essence is a human definition of the emerald tablets. It resonates on the level of your spiritual understanding. So the law of duality basically states that everything is a continuum and has a complementary opposites within the whole. To use an old adage, there may be two sides of the coin, but there is only one coin. In the other words, and that is actually not the truth, but you have two sides. But if you are thinking of it, you have a third side. The small side around the coin, just a millimeter, 2 millimeters wide, but it is still a side. So it's actually three sides. It's very multidimensional. In other words, things can appear as opposites are in fact only two extremes of the same things. So for instance, heat and cold may appear to be opposites at first glance, but in truth, they are simply varying degrees of the same thing. On the physical level, the law of duality is easy to understand. We can make comparisons with physical eye. For instance, there is life and death, day and night, short and tall, masculine and feminine, near and far, and so forth. What becomes problematic with the law of duality is when we start thinking that one aspect of the spectrum is better than the other aspect of spectrum. We got into labeling things as right or wrong. Unlike mankind's laws and morals, there is no right or wrong. For an example, in America, they drive on the right side of the road. In England, they drive on the left side of the road. Who is right and who is wrong? Similarly, Similarly, there are no good or bad experience. Experiences are just experiences. Nothing more, nothing less. What one learns from the experience is all that counts. We have all had experience that initially proved unpleasant, but they become the greatest thing that happened to us. And for example, I can say that sometimes you are stuck in a let's take work. You're stuck at work and something happened to the company and they fire everybody because they don't have money to pay salaries anymore. So everybody is out of of work. It could be destructive, of course. And for some people, that was the greatest thing that ever happened because it led them into another path in life. So, seeing things from only one perspective is a trap that keeps you locked into the aspect of condition. In every situation in life, under the law of duality, you are simply seeking to balance the duality. It is not about operating in the either extreme, it is about keeping to the middle path. One does not, however, deny the moment. To learn how to live the moment, all one needs to do is watch a child's behavior. They get angry with someone, and in the next moment they forget it. They move on, no stress. Currently, there are many who like to label the darkness as evil. There is not a source of evil in this universe, there is only a source of love, the Christ consciousness. There is, however, negative thought forms, as every thought has ever been taught is still in existence. Do remember what I told you before, that everything you think of is manifesting. If you are attuned to these thought forms, then you are attuning to that which is not source energy. No. It is also important to understand that in order to be for something, you must be against something. So if you are, very important, if you are for something, you must be against something. For and against still indicates you are operating on the same continuum. It is the reason most of our war against drugs, cancer, poverty, homelessness, etc. campaigns do not work. What we are essentially doing is focusing our energies on that which we do not want, and in doing so, we neglect to define what it is we do want. We put enough energy and most of our energy into things that we do not want to have instead of focusing on the things that we do want in our lives. So we are giving our energy to a thought form that is not taking us to the higher good. As I said, whatever you're putting your mind to, the energy will flow there. So it's a definition of choice. As Einstein said, you cannot solve a problem with the same mind that created it. When working with this law, you may find that when attempting to balance the duality, you will end up attracting the opposite of it, of what you want. For the moment you call in that which you are seeking to balance, everything in its opposite will come tumbling into your life. If you are seeking more clarity, confusion will seem to reign supreme. Nothing will seem to be clear anymore, and you will wonder why you ever started on this journey. Yet, if you continue to work on changing your thinking and your belief patterns, you will reach the balance point around you. So, you can also give another picture. I will put another picture in there who would be the same thing. So, you have this. You're in a room and you have a lot of toys scattered all over the place around you, and you want to have this room clean. So when you're starting to put every little piece back in place, working your way through these toys that are lying everywhere, then it will seem like it's never ending. There's so difficulty to know where to start, which toy should you start with, because where you want to place it, there's another toy and you don't know where to put it. So you may need to put that shell out and to make space for something else. So then you are working yourself through. So what it seems to be a chaos is not actually a chaos. It's you working through the scattered pattern of your mind on how things should be. So yet if you continue to work on changing your thinking, your belief patterns, you will reach the balance point around you. This is what the law of duality is all about. It's about reaching a balance point. It's not about operating at either extreme. It is about remaining at your center when the hurricane of life is swirling. To be centered within yourself, working for your higher self. So, with that said, when you are communicating with other entities, you definitely need to have this balance. You have to find your inner centerpiece. It could be a storm around you, but you need to have this calm within yourself. Because in this calm, you are connected to your higher self, you're connected to a higher source, you are connected to your soul purpose, and that soul purpose is a part of a larger creation. And from that creation, you will feel the vibration of whatever it is you are communicating with. So are we to communicate with ourselves, channeling, and with angels? And I said, definitely, yes, I do believe that we are supposed to communicate with that, because that is universe expressing itself throughout every single dimension, into every single human being, and the natural kingdoms that are located in our surroundings. So if we look upon the nature kingdoms, they are always communicating with each other and their surroundings. Each nature kingdom has been watching over them, and they are in communication with the one source and the physical environment. So if you have plants and trees, they are communicating all the time with each other, and so are animals. They are communicating with each other. So if animals and nature is communicating with each other, of course we are a part of that communication, but we have forgotten how to listen. Not all of us, but most of us has forgotten how to listen to that communication. But when we're tuning into that communication, we will see that we are a part of a larger communication center that are moving through space and time, who are connecting us to so larger system of awareness than you probably ever will imagine. And there is ascension process for our life. They communicate with each other with communication. We communicate with other natural kingdoms such as animal, plants, etc. We communicate with the one source within prayers. We communicate with ourselves through our higher selves. We communicate all the time, whether we admit it or not. And we do. Because when it serves us, we usually set out a prayer for the highest good, and when everything is working out fine, we definitely forgot about that. And some people are talking to plants, other people are talking to dogs or animals. So there's a lot of communication ongoing all the time, talking to our angels and etc. And they listen, definitely. So yes, definitely, absolutely, do communicate. Be aware of whom you're communicating with. Does the communication serve a higher good? It should always serve a higher good to be connected. Does the information always have to be good? Well, you can find it distressed if you are talking to plants or are living in an environment that are being, so you will probably get a distressed communication, but that is a good communication because you know that you need to take action to not make the plants feel so distressed. Include, for example, angels in your daily lifestyle, random thoughts, the respect all you are communicating with humans, animals, plant, or entities. Yeah, there's a W there, but definitely, if you want to talk with someone, start to talk with your plants and walk by and give compliments to your plants indoor or outside. Talk to your animals, give them appreciation. Talk to your fellow people around you, give them appreciation. Talk to the angels around you. They're always there to listen. But if you want something to work with them on a higher level, I will definitely bring in Reverend Anna Jones. And she has this praise that she is talking about when she is channeling Archangel Michael. And that is that we have a clear question what that we want to ask. Um, and we are giving a thanking for the archangels to receive the question and preparing an answer, and we will listen receiving. While we are receiving, we will listen, we will embrace the uh, the information that we get back from the question, and we will bring our praise to the archangel for responding to us. um, do we need to follow these dots? Of course not. But I think it's a pretty pretty good thing, because it's like when you have a communication with another human being, you want to ask something. You're not, hey, I want to ask you something, answer me now. No, you don't. You are ending up like, I have this question. I would be most grateful if you want to answer it. And here is it, the question. And then I receive probably an answer, and I receive it, and I say, thank you, neighbor, for giving me the answer to my question. That is respect. And as I said in the slide before, you can definitely include every entity around you, the the fairies, the elves, the plants, etc., everything around you. When you're walking by, you can say, hello, you're beautiful today, or oh, this is looking good, and thank you for taking care of the forest, and appreciate your work, whatever it is. Or just randomly expressing your thoughts if you want to do that. Chit chat is always a pleasant thing. Um, but then you are not asking questions in order to receive. Because when you have a thought behind that question, it's not like, hi, how are you? And then you're moving on, not listening to the answer. No, if you want to know something, you should pay the respect of asking, thanking for the questioning the answer you're receiving, and give thanks and praising for the information you received. So there is definitely a difference there. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this was definitely the last slide, and I hope you enjoyed this time and that you are grasping a concept of what I want to talk to you about, what I want to give you to take with you today. So, thank you for tuning in, thank you for listening, and bless you all for being here. Love you. Bye bye.